Today, we're going behind the scenes of the Rodinger Industrial Laundry. Christian Wurzelball, 50% owner of the Rodinger Laundry, provides insight into what has happened since the purchase at the end of August 2023. Let's dive right in. At the end of August 2023, you and Frank Besol took over the Rodinger Industrial Laundry. What was the situation like back then?
The Rodinger Laundry was owned by 3 other laundries, and so it was a subsidiary. And the central functions like accounting, controlling, customer service, everything was basically distributed amongst the shareholder companies. So it was a laundry that just made the service for the customer, and that's it. It was, of course, that COVID-19 and other developments were very challenging for this laundry. Also, the rising energy costs. They wanted to streamline, obviously, their company profile. They sold it, and we bought it together. We invested also our own money. So we had the challenge in the first few weeks until the end of September, get all the central functions done by ourselves. So accounting and purchasing and customer service. Nothing was before on site. After 2 months, we had everything insourced. And we did this with no additional employees. So we basically gave existing employees more responsibility, and they really excelled. Maybe to the background, the Rodinger Wäscherei, the laundry, has about 30 tons a day, which is 70 pounds a day in linen garments and private clothing for nursing homes. So we service hotels, hospitals, and nursing homes. So it's a nice laundry with about 200 employees.
For me, it's very interesting to hear how against the trend of the last 10 years, where a lot of companies started to outsource a lot of the tasks, you seem to have insourced a lot of the tasks into your own laundry since purchasing. And it sounds like it has been very successful. And you mentioned that you did not need to hire new associates. How did you do that? Did you invest in digitalization?
Yeah, on the one hand, it was digitalization. I and my colleague, we are very tech-affine. We switched the accounting and also the payroll into the cloud. So we used cloud services on the one hand, also for time management and so on. For instance, when you have your purchasing not on-site, but 70 kilometers at another headquarters, you need to write an email to the headquarters. I need this item, and then they have a question. They write an email back and have a question, and then you need to answer the email, and you need to answer a phone call and so on. So the work is already done on site. Central functions in this case helped us to streamline processes. We are on premise. We make decisions within hours. I think that's also important. Everybody can get in touch with us. There are no barriers. That's one of the success criteria.
With the Leanlaundry program, you consult other laundries by yourself. Which specific principles or strategies did you implement first in your own laundry now, and what had the biggest effect?
On the one hand, consulting is challenging because the client often does not do what you recommend. But on the other hand, if you need to do it yourself, then you have the same challenge as the client, that the everyday's work is also challenging. We managed to increase productivity by 25%. We reduced WECO costs, so water, electricity, and gas consumption by 10%. The 10% are from the second quarter 2023 to the second quarter 2025. And we have had some major savings in the past 2 weeks. So I would assume that we are rather at 15% now. And so how did we do it? On the one hand, to be more on premise and on site, directly at the machine and observing everything. So I remember, for instance, in one case, I was probably 4 days at one washing tunnel in order to analyze a problem or to improve the throughput of the machine. We don't do it in meetings, we do it on site. That's one thing that's also part of lean management culture. It's Genba. The second thing is that we try to get to the bottom of each problem, to ask five times why, to have an Ishikawa diagram, to analyze a problem in its depth. So that's also a lean management method that really helped. So we tried to make improvements to the process in a very fundamental way. This year we started to have an real continuous improvement process. Each and every problem, each and every improvement is listed there, and we analyze it together. We assign the tasks, we prioritize APC, and this helps big time. So the idea is to have 10 improvements per week done. These are probably the first 3 methods that we implemented. So on the one hand, Genba, be on site, also be with the customer and so on. Second, problem solving in a very structured way. Third, to have an improvement process that works. But there's more to come. Big time. It's not the end of the road. At the end of the year, we want to have 50% productivity increase, which also includes some investments. So we have ordered quite a few machines now, and there are so many small things that we can still improve. It's incredible.
I do know that you in-depth studied lean management in the past, and you also have a track record implementing lean management in laundries. Now you mentioned you increased the productivity by 25%. Has it rather been a lot of small improvements that you did along the way, or was there one major change that you implemented?
That we did not document each and every change that we did. Probably one of the bigger things was that we started to improve the allocation of the associates and also have targets for the output of each machine and measure this each and every day. But there are so many others.
So it sounds like a lot of small steps.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned that your goal is to have 10 improvements a week. So over the year, 520 improvements, which might sound a lot at the beginning, knowing that in lean management, it can be a lot more than that. But how do you make sure you get to the 10 improvements per week?
On the one hand, we are 2 CEOs or 2 managing directors. And on the other hand, we have managers on the shop floor. We have a lead technician and we have other technicians. We have a manager for the delivery. We have customer service reps. And we want to assign each and every person every week a small improvement. So every person has 1 week to finish up one task. So this is very realistic on the one, but still it needs a stable process, because otherwise you do not get even one improvement every week. So the idea is to spread up the work amongst many people. And that's also the point why I think that we should aim in the next 5 years to be rather at 2,000 improvements every year. The more people you get involved, the more people you train, the more people you give the opportunity to contribute, the more you get the process going. And the basic idea is that you have, on the one hand, big investments like what we are doing now, also with buying new folders, new technology. Of course, this is an improvement. On top of it, you need to have these small things like improving the sorting, the cleaning of the machines so that you have less downtime during the day, improving the item list and get rid of customers or services that are not fitting to your processes. These are all small steps. This is feasible to do in 1 week for one person. That's the basic idea. And when you accumulate these 500 improvements, and this itself is as much or even more than new technology that you would buy for 1, 2, or 3 million. These are many small steps, but at the end of the day, it's huge.
Do you mainly assign these little tasks by yourself, or do your key associates play an active role in that and come up with those improvements by themselves?
The ideal process would be, of course, that you have many people. I think it's not unrealistic that we have in a few years up to 30 people that are part of the improvement process. We both in top management go into Gemba, go on site, on premise, see where there is waste, localize improvements and then delegate it, or that we listen to employees where they have problems. That's actually one of the main things. On the one hand, we have these meetings with plant management, and every time when they complain about something, we just make notes and try and keep track of these problems and try our best that we solve it by the root cause. On the other hand, when you talk with people on the shop floor, there is enough to improve. The question is rather how to organize everything that you make then the improvement in a way that it is also a long-term improvement.
A couple of weeks ago, you mentioned that the last 18 months felt like a bull ride. And what exactly do you mean by that?
Yeah, we bought the company with our money on the one hand. And on the other hand, we didn't get money from the bank. Bank asked us to wait for 2 years until they see the second annual report, which meant that we just this year got the first financings. The good thing is that we have now our customers on board that they pay quite fine. On the other hand, we are now debt free, so we have no obligations towards a bank or the previous owners. It's becoming better.
Congratulations for paying off the debt. I believe that is most likely a big milestone that you
Yeah, and we had also now a profit in the first year, in the second year, and also this year.
You also recently won a major contract, but you also lost some other tenders. And out of your point of view, what do you consider the key factors of winning or losing those?
In this case, you're talking public tenders. So we didn't lose any customer where we had normal contracts. But public tenders is a different thing. With public tenders, most of the case just the price. Even if there is other formulas that consider quality and stuff, at the end of the day, it's the price, because the bidder that gets the tender is often the first loser because you got the tender with a too low price. Therefore, we had the strategic decision that we do not try to get contracts for any price. So we, on the one hand, we want to have customers that suit our processes. And on the other hand, we need to have a fair pricing. I think it's important that you have enough equity or not high fixed costs in order to make smart decision in this case. And that's our luxury probably here.
With a gross goal that you have, like what is your plan for new customer acquisition?
A healthy growth of 10% a year, 7% a year, 1 or 2 customers a month. 5% is completely feasible. 7% is nice to have it long term. And in our case, it's probably 10% possible.
If we think a couple of years in the future, what is your vision of Roding until the end of 2030?
We want to have lean management implemented, but we want to have an ultra stable service, and we want to have a very high customer satisfaction. That's probably one thing. Next year, by the end of next year, most of the processes digitalized. We have made quite a progress in digitalization, but still there are a few things like UHF technology and other administrative processes that we need to digitalize. I think we can manage it by the end of 2026, but when it comes to 2030, then we want to have artificial intelligence, robotics, so at least 10%, maybe 15% trained in lean management, and to have benchmark productivity. Because at the end of the day, the customers want also have an cost-effective service. We still want to be 100% equity. So apart from the building, that the real estate that we need to purchase in the next year, for the rest, we want to have no financial obligations.
To wrap this up, if you could give other laundries just one piece of advice from your own experience, what would that be?
I think the biggest lever is still to have the right strategic positioning, to know what is your service, your offer that you provide to the customer, and to say no to customers that do not fit your processes. And on the other hand, to have a process that fits into your offer. Basically, the fit of the offer that you offer to the market, which shall also be attractive on the one hand, So the offer and your processes and how to do it on an everyday basis, they need to complement each other. It's in my experience personally, and also when I look at the market, the biggest potential for many laundries. Often you're tempted to get new contracts, new volume at any price sometimes, or at any complexity, so that this new customer increases complexity in your plant, and this increases then the cost for the production of every customer. Not underestimating the issue of complexity is probably the biggest advice. With the 1st January 2026, we will be free of contract linen, which will be a milestone, big one.
Then thank you, Christian, for these words and your honest insight. It's always great to see how theory and practice go hand in hand in your case, and we're looking forward to the next update from Roding. If you liked the video, ensure to follow us and leave us a comment. Bye-bye.
See you.
Our Leanlaundry program helps entrepreneurs significantly boost productivity, team satisfaction, and revenue. Our goal is help you earn more while having more time for your family and hobbies. If you want to learn more, find the link to the strategy session in the video description below. Thanks for watching and see you the next time.